Welcome to the Expat Experience, your essential guide to relocating, living, and thriving in San Carlos, Mexico. Join seasoned real estate professional Robert DeForge as he pulls back the curtain on seamlessly transitioning from dreamer to doer. Whether you're eyeing retirement bliss, seeking the perfect work from anywhere setup, or hunting for your ideal vacation escape, this podcast is your compass to navigating the exciting journey to San Carlos, Mexico living. Get ready to turn your relocation dreams into sun-soaked reality.
Well, welcome, Luis. Thanks for joining the Expat Experience, and we're glad to have you here. Want to learn more about what you do. If you could give us a little bit of background about your position and what your office does.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for having me here. Well, I am an attorney. I have my law office down at the Marina in San Carlos. I've been working here since 2017. I'm originally from Hermosillo, but I set up my law office a couple of years ago here in San Carlos. And mainly what we do is that we work in real estate law and property law. We are more focused in representing people from outside of the country, representing them in what they purchase property in Mexico, not only in San Carlos, but also in Hermosillo, Guaymas, and the whole state.
And the term in Mexico is notario?
No, I'm not a notario. Not a notario. No, I'm an attorney.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a private independent attorney. A notario will be a person. They must be attorneys as well, but they are appointed as that by the governor of the state, and they are the ones. They are the only ones that can make official a transaction such as a purchase of a property.
And where do your services come into the mix when one of my clients wants to purchase a home and we get an agreement and they move forward? Then what's the next step?
Well, mainly it's reviewing that all of the paperwork is all right. As you know, there are many parties involved in transactions in real estate, especially. And so it's always good to have, let's say, a third party that is not part of the transaction reviewing that all of the information and that every single comma, every single letter, it's there in the final title deed that both the buyer and the seller will be signing before a notary public. So I mainly review what the notary public does. I review the contracts that the parties sign. I review that all of the paperwork around the property it's all right, it's up to date, and that's mainly what I do with regards to the purchase of property.
What are some of the things that you see that you need to make people aware of during the process?
Well, first of all, we need to make sure that there are no liens. Um, that in the public registry everything's fine. The public registry is the one that has the last word. They are the ones that at the end they make official the transaction. So what I mainly focus, it'll be in the public registry records. So it's a matter of going to the office of the public registry and review right there that all of the paperwork is in order.
So what are some of the challenges and ethical considerations in that process?
Well, being transparent, being honest with clients. If I see something that I think it's relevant and I think it's not 100% all right, I will let my clients know that I have seen this that it does not match with how the process should be done. So I focus mainly on being transparent and honest with my clients, and I try to be very formal. Sometimes it can be not that is annoying, but I need to be formal so that transaction at the end goes well, especially at the public registry where they review that all of the signatures and everything it's okay.
Can you give us an example of a red flag, something that would pop up that you would have to tell the client, don't go forward with this?
Especially if there's a lien, such as a mortgage, um, or if the property was involved in a lawsuit. Usually you will see that in the public registry records. So you have to go to the office and make sure that there are no liens in the property. That's the most important part of the process. I will say it's just a matter of going to the office and ask to review the records. Sometimes it'll take 5, 10 minutes. Sometimes it'll take a couple of hours. But what I focus is mainly making the client sure that there are no liens in the property.
So your job is to make sure there's clear title and no encumbrances against the property.
That is right. That is
Understood.
right.
Okay.
With regards to the purchase of a property.
So when you're coming from the US or Canada, what are some of the misconceptions that you encounter or bad information that your clients have when they come to you?
Well, what I have seen this past couple of years, it's that people from Canada or the US, they have an idea of how the purchase of the property is, which works way different here in Mexico than in the US. Realtors in the US have a different status than realtors here in Mexico. And um, sometimes people get confused as to the function of the notary. Uh, but the notary public in Mexico, they are professionals, they are professional attorneys, they are well trained. They need, in order to become a notary, you need um, to have an experience of at least 10 years working in a notary public office. And it's a whole process. It's really difficult. There's a test that you need to take, which is not simple. The test it usually involves a complex situation. You need to know very well the civil code, the Sonoran civil code, in order to become a notary public. And I know that's different in the case of in the U.S. But here in Mexico, the figure of the notary, they are a fundamental part of the process, and they have lots of experience. And at the end, they are the ones that make it formal, that make it official. And after that, the public registry will record that um, in the registry. But the notary public is the one that makes sure that everything is in order. And and myself as an attorney, I review the work of the notary, and if I see anything that doesn't match, I will let the notary office know that they should change this or that. I mean, they have a lot of work. It's natural that sometimes they miss something, so it's only a matter of working together as a team at the end.
So in total, how many people do we have involved here? We have myself as an agent.
Hmm.
We have Notario,
Yeah.
yourself as another set of
Hmm.
eyes on the process,
Sometimes you
and who else would be involved?
Yes, sometimes the buyer also has a realtor that is working with them together. So sometimes you have two realtors, the notario, and then a third party attorney reviewing the paperwork. working for the buyer
Okay.
most of the times.
And the trust company, that's part of the process as
Oh,
well.
yes, of course, you're right. In the case of trust, the bank is the one holding the property, um, the ownership of the property, and the trustees or fideicomisarios, they are the one using the property. And the bank, it's always or usually it is a bank that is the one holding the trust, and it works sort of the same way as they hold your bank account. So they have your money. uh, you can use your money anytime you like, and so it works sort of the same in regard to real estate bank trust. The bank, it's holding the property, the ownership of the property, and you as a trustee, you are using the property. You can lease the property, you can sell the property, you can transfer your rights, you can do many things. But at the end, as with a bank account, the the bank is the one holding the trust.
So could you share some of your experiences that come to your mind, both good and bad, that you've encountered?
Mm, um, with regards to bad situations, I prefer to not speak about that in order to maintain some privacy matters.
Sure.
But the good thing is that what I have seen is that um, year after year, I have seen that the trust documentation, the final title deed, um, that document has become more and more complex. There are a lot of exceptions that the bank specifies in the document. So what I have seen is that they are becoming more professional. For example, 10, 15, 20 years ago, a trust document will be around 20 pages, 15, 20 pages. Nowadays, I have seen documents from the bank holding the trust around 50 pages. So I have seen that the notaries, and the realtors, they have become more and more professional, and I think that's a good thing. Not only in San Carlos, but also in Rocky Point, in places where or people from the outside purchase properties.
To mention, a lot of times what we face is a concern from buyers outside of Mexico. The process is much more involved, and they have concerns that either they take a long time to get the title, or um, something comes up that unexpected. And it sounds like they would be well advised to have someone like you in their corner during the process, just as another set of eyes. But is there anything else that you'd like to mention?
I totally agree. Well, what I would like to mention is that as this process, specifically the real estate bank trust, as I was saying, as it has become more and more professional, um, it's natural that it will take some time for you to receive your title deed. At least, at least it will take 3 months, and that's the least amount of time that it'll take. So it usually takes between 3 and 6 months. So it's a matter of being patient. And another thing that I would like to say is that in places such as San Carlos and Rocky Point, those places are special. Living here in San Carlos, it's a whole experience. Um, you have people from everywhere. um, when you go out, you can talk to people from different standpoints, different world views. So I like that places such as San Carlos and Rocky Point are becoming more known in the U.S., Canada, and I will say sometimes Europeans will find out that this is a good place both to invest, to live, or to spend some time during the holidays. I when I talk to people that have been living here since the 80s or 90s, they always say to me that San Carlos in the 80s and in the 90s, it was a place where you can find people from all over the place, from both the US, Canada, and Europe. So I would like to to see San Carlos as a more global place, both San Carlos and Rocky Point.
Is there anything else you would like to share as far as your path? Uh, what brought you to San Carlos? Tell us a little bit about your educational background.
Sure, sure. I would love to. Well, as I said in the beginning, I'm originally from Hermosillo. I was born there in the 80s, 84. And well, my father, he was a notary public, and I went to law school. I wanted to continue working with him. And I went to law school in 2003 at the University of Sonora, the public university. I had the great experience there. Um, in the second year of law school, I was founder and director of the Law School Journal, and we published 13 issues from 2004 to 2008. I'm sorry. We published 13 issues, and we had a graphic designer, and she even sent her designs of the magazine to international contests, and she won a couple of times. So it was a mix of art and law, and that was interesting. So that was in law school. During law school, I was so focused on legal on research and legal philosophy, jurisprudence, and I had the opportunity of getting two scholarships, and I went to the National Autonomous University of Mexico to do two research stays at the Institute of Legal Research of UNAM, the university, and I had the greatest time there. In the beginning, the first time I went, I was doing research in the area of artificial intelligence applied to law, and the second, I was doing research in legal philosophy. So it was a really fun experience in law school because as students, we had access to these scholarships, and the University of Sonora and the National Autonomous University of Mexico. They had an agreement, so they sent us students to do some research with really qualified professors at UNAM. So I had that advantage of doing those two research stays. Then, as I said, I graduated from law school in 2008, and but since 2007, I started clerking at the Sonora State Supreme Court, and I clerked there from 2007, 2008, 2009 until the beginning of 2011, because that's when I went to the University of Minnesota to do my Master of Laws under the guidance of Professor Brian Biggs. He's a wonderful person. He helped me a lot with my research project. Um, I was doing some research in the philosophy of punishment, which is a subject that I still work and think about it. It's interesting. So I stayed there in the University of Minnesota doing my master's for around 2 years, from 2007. I'm sorry, 2011 to 2012, or the end of 2011, more likely. And then I went back to Hermosillo, and I worked there a couple of years um, in real estate law, working at a couple of law firms there of people close to me, and then in 2016, my wife and I we got married, and we were living in Hermosillo, but we always wanted to live somewhere else, and and we thought about these crazy ideas of going to Europe, going to Prague, going to Ensenada, to Baja, and but since 2010, before my master's and after, um, we had a couple of friends living here in San Carlos, really close friends. We still are. We are compadres, and so we said, we have this really strong connection with this great group of people in San Carlos. What if we go there? If we need to work in Hermosillo, we just go there. It's just 1 hour away, 2 hours away. So it's a matter of going back and forth. And so we decided to move to San Carlos, continue working in Hermosillo, and started working in San Carlos. My wife, she's a photographer. So she's still working in Hermosillo. Me too. We are. But mainly we are focused on establishing. We are already established in San Carlos. So that was our goal, and we we finally made it. We have been working in this office for around 4 years, and it's been a great experience.
Thank you for that. Okay, well, thank you very much, Luis, for coming on the program and sharing a little bit about what you do and telling us a little bit about your life path. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you joining us. Visit expatexperiencepodcast.com for more practical tips and insights on making your move to paradise. We're here to help navigate the process of relocating to San Carlos every step of the way. Start your journey toward living the dream in Mexico.